Hi guys, welcome back to Christian Casts where I build baits so you don't have to. Today's a really exciting moment for me because yesterday I actually looked at my YouTube and we actually managed to break the 2000 subscribers, and I have to thank you guys for that because it wouldn't be possible without you guys and with everybody who's watching my videos and following my journey on bait building and fishing and everything. So a big thank you goes out to you guys. And today I thought we're gonna do something very iconic. We're gonna try a interpretation of a FIRETIGER lure optic on our lure blanks. So I'll set you guys straight away up. And we'll see how the paint scheme goes. I've got quite a lot of colors already prepared which go in the direction, and I'm not too sure if I'll use them all, but we'll see how it goes and I'll take you guys with once again. So I'll pop you guys to the desk and we'll get started. So I've got you guys facing the desk, and as you all know, I like to ground my baits with some white from the beginning, and we'll start with the head. So that's going to be the first coat of the head itself. As I said in the last video, if you haven't seen it, I made a brook trout interpretation, and I always like to go over the belly once or twice at least, that we cover up the lead hole. So we'll now set that off to the side and let it dry while we come over our tail. So that looks good. And then I'll get you guys back once we add the first color. As we all know, the classic FIRETIGER optic will be going with some greens, some yellows, orange and red. Red will be very gentle with from the bottom first before covering with some orange, but you guys will see that anyway in the process. And I hope that it turns out as I've got it in my mind. It's always funny. I often look back at the videos and think I actually have no idea what I'm doing at the moment when painting, because I never think about it that much before. I just come into the workshop, look for paints, and then start airbrushing. So we'll see how this one turns out. So as you can see, we have added our yellow. When I do baits and I notice, okay, the yellow itself goes further down on the bait, it's always going to be the next color that I actually go for before adding the greens from the top, and then we'll still add the orange and red from the bottom and just see how that goes. I'm not too sure if I'll do the orange and the red from the bottom in the next step or after adding the green, because when you spray from the bottom you also always got the cone that gets created by the airbrush, so you'll always have a little bit of overspray to the top unless you're really careful, and we'll just be watching that today. And the first thing we're now going to do is just add a good coat of base yellow. So as you might have noticed, I actually sprayed the whole tail with yellow, that is because we went really heavy on the head today with the yellow before, and now I will put this to the side and we'll actually put in some fluorescent yellow as well, and just add a little bit of a lateral line that comes out during the UV curing process, and also gives it a little bit of UV action. Well, we have added our fluorescent yellow, and we'll grab our bait and just add a little bit along the side. You don't really see it that much now, but one will notice when the UV coat is on. Well, actually, when I harden the UV coat, let's say like that, it's more accurate. So now we'll be going over to our greens for the top to the bottom, before actually adding the stencil. And after adding the stencil, I will still clean up all the overspray and everything that happens during the stencil painting process with this green from the top still, and we'll hopefully get a clean lure, but we'll see. Well, we have actually now added our yellow-green mixture, and we'll now head over to going over the top. So I'm quite happy with that. Now we're still going to add a little line of fluorescent green, that we really get the fluorescent action going, and then we'll see what the next step is. We have added a little bit of our fluorescent green, and now I'll grab our lure and just really add a little line just across like that. So now I've got a nice color transition, and now I actually will do the stencil in the next step, I think, before adding the orange belly with a little bit of red. I think we'll be going over with the red beforehand, and then covering up with the orange, that we've got just a little bit of red in there, but not a lot. Well, as most of you know, I print my own 3D stencils, and I actually used this one on one of my baits. If you haven't seen the video, I'll maybe pop it up here or there, and you can check that out. I'm still not quite happy because they are still not as flexible, and I just haven't printed a new one yet. So we'll have to work with this one and just be very careful while placing it on, and then we will just go over like that, and we've got our black lines. We'll let that now dry properly before turning it around, because we'll do the other side with the mirrored stencil, and then we'll actually go over the bottom still with some red as said, and clean up the top with the dark green. So we are back, and we're going to add the second stencil. we go. It's not completely symmetrical, but we don't really care. Nothing in nature is symmetrical, so well, as if the fire tiger is anything natural, but who cares. Now I'll let this dry before going over the belly, and I'll get you guys back. So as you can see, we have added our red, and now we'll try and be very gentle with going over the belly. Just about like that. That's going to be the red for us, and now we will do the orange before cleaning up the top with some green. So we have got our second last color before we start the scales, and it's going to be this orange, and I'll straight away go ahead and go over just like that. Now I'll grab our tail. That's what I meant. We've just got a little bit of the red still, but otherwise the orange is mainly dominating, and also the orange color is a little bit darker than if you would just paint it on the white. So I am quite happy with that, and I think we'll leave it at that, and we'll change up to the green, but you'll anyway see that. So the last color before we do the scales is going to be our green, our dark metallic green, and we'll go over the top. About that, and then we'll grab our tail. And that is going to be the paint scheme underneath our scale pattern. I know that fire tigers often don't have a scale pattern, but I thought I would like to maybe add a little twist on it, and we'll be going with some bronze scales very lightly, and then add on a second layer of gold, and we'll just see how that looks, because I think it will get out a bit more of the black, and I really like a scale optic on my lures. We have prepared everything for the scale pattern now, and I am going to go over very lightly with some bronze, and you won't see the airbrush in this process because I'm really going from far and at an angle. So that's gonna be it for the bronze. I'll clean out the airbrush, and then we'll load up some gold, and then we'll give it a light touch up again from an angle, and just get a little bit of depth into the scale pattern. Last step before we are pretty much done with the lure is going to add our second layer of the scales with some gold, and I'll also go from far away and just hit it very lightly. So that is going to be our scale pattern for today, and I'll get you guys back for the reveal as soon as it's dry. Well, the scales should be dry by now, and we will just take a look at what we're working with before doing the eyes. So we've got our FIRETIGER pattern. It will come out a lot more still under the clear coat, and I'm quite happy with how that turned out. Here as well, we've got our slight scale pattern on the side. The colors still come through quite well, and we'll see how the clear coat actually improves it in the step after gluing the scale, the eyes on. So we'll get to it. So for this build, I thought we'll stick with the green pattern. Open the super glue and just get them on. So we've got the green eye on. I think it looks quite cool, and we'll let that dry, and then we'll head over to the clear coat process, which most of you know anyway, and I'll just show you how it looks under the clear coat before actually heading into the outro. So as most of you know, the last step is going to be a nice thorough clear coat. And there you see, if it focuses, right, how the scales come out. I'm quite happy with that. Now I'll still blowtorch it, make sure that the clear coat is nice and even, and then I'll get you guys back once we are in the outro. Hi, and welcome back to the outro. Another bait is done. We have got our interpretation of the FIRETIGER. I'm actually quite happy. I hope it focuses and you guys get a good look at what we're working with. I actually will take this lure out because there should be some pike in some regions of the river that I'm fishing in right now, and some other fisher guys told me, so we'll maybe check out those spots and we'll take it and see if we are able to land a pike, and that's going to be a first for me, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in and watching another airbrushing tutorial, and also for the support on my channel. And I wish you guys a great one, and we'll see each other for the next bait build next week. Cheers.